Good afternoon and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Jennifer and I like to make sewing videos. For this week, I'm going to be making a white dress and I want to show you the pattern. This is the pattern that I'll be using. It's Simplicity 1191 and it has a boat neckline with a gathered skirt. And I love a swooshy skirt. I like the drama and I think it's really beautiful. This dress kind of reminds me of something that Audrey Hepburn would wear, and I just love her fashion sense. She definitely inspires me in a lot of my creations, and I love the garments that were made by Givenchy and their collaboration together. Her fashion sense is super timeless and everything looks cohesive and beautiful, but overall I love the structure and the silhouette from these garments. That's why I am gravitated towards them, but I think she's one of the main reasons I've been dressing 50s now. I just have a lot of love for her and her fashion sense. Of course, her personality as well is really charming, but yeah, she's my fashion icon. I'm glad you have noticed. But anyways, yeah, I'm really excited to make this dress. So this is the fabric that I'll be using. I bought it from the company that's local here. The name is Blue Armadillo Sewing Company, and I will link their website down below. And I'm not sponsored or anything. I bought this with my own money. I visit a lot of times because I love their shop, and Michael Wells is the owner. He has such a great knowledge of historical fashion and fabrics. He also has a lot of notions and classes that he offers. But yeah, I love supporting local. This fabric is 100% cotton and it's fairly opaque. Let me show you. Oh, I got a lot of it. Like, you can't see where my black shirt starts. Maybe you can, and I can't see it in the viewfinder, but it's pretty much opaque. I will probably still line the dress, but I think it's nice. Like, sometimes I like a sheer fabric, but then I'd have to pay attention to the underlayer more. But for this, I'll just be using a cotton voile to underline it. So with all that being said, what I'm going to do now is work on the mock-up to make sure that this pattern fits well, and then I will show you how it fits. Okay, so here I have the mock-up and it fits really well. I will say there is some ease in the back. I think I will leave it like this because I don't want there to be pulling of the fabric in the front. This dress is a button-up dress. There are no zippers, so that's pretty nice. But that means that if this dress is too tight, it could cause pulling in the front. I've had dresses and tops like that in the past where I'm really uncomfortable because you see a gap here between the buttons. So yeah, I'm gonna keep the ease so I can avoid that. But I think it fits pretty well and it looks nice. I didn't cut out the skirt because it's just a gathered skirt, so I can adjust it to my waist. I also want to mention that I am wearing a 1960s corselet. I think that's what they're called. If not, you can correct me. But they're basically like a corset and a bra, and this one zips in the front. It fits really nice and I don't feel uncomfortable or anything, but it is a foundational garment in 50s fashion. You can also wear like a slip dress and then the petticoat and all of that stuff. But I don't think it's necessary. Of course, wear what you want. That's not the point that I'm making here. The point that I want to make is that this top without this sort of undergarment or bullet bra would fit differently, and these lines won't hit at that same spot. I tried it right now with a modern bra and it fit really odd. So these garments were definitely designed with the bullet bra silhouette in mind. But yeah, I guess I just wanted to mention that because I don't know who's watching. Maybe someone who is interested in 50s fashion or vintage silhouettes, but maybe confused if they bought a 50s dress and tried it on with modern undergarments, because I've done that before. I was looking in the mirror and I'm like, well, how come I don't look like them? Like, something's off. This dress doesn't fit. But it was my measurements. It's just I don't have the undergarments on at that time. But yeah, it's more about transparency. But please do not think you have to wear 50s undergarments and the whole shebang to wear 50s. Like, it's just information. Okay, with all that being said, I think I'm finally ready to cut into the fabric, so let's do it. Good morning, it's day 2 of sewing and I have my tea here to keep me warm. Okay, I'm gonna put it aside now. Yesterday what I worked on was cutting all the fabric pieces and I just pinned the darts for the bodice together. I will go ahead and sew that right now. I'm thinking this project will go by pretty quickly because it's a basic bodice and a gathered skirt. It's not like other dresses I've made where there's a bunch of panels, so that'll be nice. Before I get started with sewing, I do want to play a record and I'm gonna pick one. Hold on. I already know which one I want to put on. Let me look for it. So this is the record that I want to put on. It's Heaven or Las Vegas by Cocteau Twins. I don't know how to say that, but I love this album so much and I think Elizabeth Fraser's voice is really magical. I always sing along, but then one time when I was singing, my sister asked me, do you know the lyrics? And I told her, no, I think I'm singing it, I don't know. And so I looked up online Cocteau Twins lyrics and there are none. There are some words in these songs that are easy to hear, but for the most part she uses different languages and just kind of mushes them together. And it sounds beautiful either way. It's just vibes. So I felt very validated as I sang along. It is a little emotional, I'll say that, but for the most part, I'm like singing and dancing. If I'm sad, this one's not gonna get played. All right, same with Beach House, all right? I have to be in a good mood to listen to those albums. Okay. You know, I can't even decide which is my favorite song. I really like Pitch the Baby and 50-50 Clown. And of course, Cherry Color Funk is classic, but yeah, I can't wait. The first thing I did was stay stitch the neckline. Then I sewed the darts on the bodice of the main fabric and the lining as well. Following that, I pressed the waist darts towards the center and the bust darts towards the waistline. Zoe drinks water forever. We actually replaced her water thing with a refillable one, so she's chugging for longer now. Anyways, what was I saying? I'm about to sew the main bodice piece with the lining, and I found this video on how to do the burrito method. I will link it down below. I haven't tried this before, so we'll see how it goes. I'll probably use basting stitches and then actually sew it down. But yeah, wish me luck. I'll be back. Here I'm serging all the straps because they will be sewn together, so I want them to be finished beforehand. I also serged the front edge. I try to anticipate the next steps of the instructions so that I finish the edges before they will be enclosed. But this isn't in the instructions, so it takes some thinking through. And then I serged the bottom of the bodice as well. Since I'm here at the serger, I also decided to serge the edges of the skirt pieces, which are all basically a rectangle. I began to pin the front bodice to the back bodice at the shoulder seams. I'm doing this for the lining fabric as well. And then I sewed this in place using a straight stitch. Following that, I pressed these seams open. Then I faced the main fabric and the lining fabric right sides together. Here you can see the lining stops right at the fold line of the main fabric. This is so that the lining will end up being encased afterwards. I proceeded to pin these pieces together at the neckline all the way around. After that, I sewed it in place first using a basting stitch. After I saw that there were no puckers or unevenness, that's when I stitch around the neckline using a 2.5 stitch length. Once I was done, I seam ripped the basting stitch. Then I serged off the excess fabric, and I clipped the seam allowance since the neckline is curved. Next, I pressed the seam towards the lining fabric because I will later understitch this in place. And then I sewed a straight stitch about 1/8 of an inch away from the seam line. After all of those steps, I turned the fabric right sides out and I pressed the edge of the neckline flat. Then I started to roll one side of the bodice inwards and began to pin these sides, right sides together. And here I'm just encasing the fabric. I guess that's why they call it the burrito method. It looks more like a flauta to me if we're getting technical here. I'm kidding. Anyways, I pinned the armhole together and here I'm sewing a straight stitch. I also serged the excess seam off and clipped the seam as well, since it is a curved edge. Here's where I began to turn the fabric inside out, and I will show you in real time how I was struggling with this. Okay, this is hard. Telling you, it's very snug fit right here. Maybe I shouldn't have done the burrito method. This is a tight burrito. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Oh my gosh. That was a roller coaster ride. Okay. We did it, but at what cost, you know? I'm gonna have to do that again. I just hope nothing happens. I literally wrestled with this fabric right now. I'm so sorry, you poor thing. It's all wrinkled. I was actually being very careful, trying not to rip it, but now I know if I were to do the burrito method in the future, to not do it on such a thin strap, because it didn't look that thin, but it actually is. But I think this is a good stopping point. I'm gonna iron this fabric and try to bring some life back into it. No, kidding. But yeah, I will see y'all tomorrow. Bye-bye. Good morning, it's day 3 of sewing. I think I lost track of my days. But anyways, what I'll be working on today is the rest of the bodice, and then I will get to attaching the skirt. I'm really excited so far, it's looking pretty cute. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get to sewing. Excuse me, ma'am. I'm gonna put on the Smiths because I'm hipster and cool. No, I'm kidding. Every time I listen to it, I just kind of laugh because I think of that one scene in 500 Days of Summer. I love Zooey Deschanel. I've been watching New Girl and I realized she dresses very 1950s as well. It's like called twee. I didn't know what twee was, but I was wearing zebra print when I was in middle school, not cute little twee dresses. So I don't know what that aesthetic was. But anyways, yeah, I love her and her little cute persona in New Girl. It's adorable. But yeah, I'm gonna listen to this as I'm working today. It's so angst. Like, teenager me would have loved this, okay? On this day, I continued to work on the armholes. I sewed as far as I could before I was met with the strap of the bodice. At that point, I just backstitched and cut the thread off. After that, I placed the bodice right sides together and pinned it in place on the side seams. And I sewed that in place using a straight stitch. When I was done, I pressed these seams open. I also sewed a basting stitch at the bottom of the bodice to treat these pieces as one. This is how the top is looking like right now. It's so cute. Okay. I am also checking in with y'all because I took a look at the instructions and let me get it. Hold on. So I don't know if you can see, but I was reading this section and it said to make a slash on the right skirt front. And I was like, what do you mean, right? I only have one front. So yeah, I did that incorrectly. I was supposed to cut the skirt front on double fabric, so I'm gonna have to cut that right now, which is kind of a good thing because I was looking at the fabric and just laying it over me to see how it would drape, and it looked not so va-va-voom voluminous, and I want that, so I will cut the extra fabric because that is what's gonna give it the oomph factor. So I'll be back. I'm gonna have to get on the floor again. I'm wearing a dress. No, it's fine. Let me do that. Now it's time to make the slash in the right skirt front. I made some bias binding out of the cotton ball. Then I sewed the bias binding around the slashed edge. Here I raise my presser foot at that corner, and then I just turn it around and continue to sew a straight stitch. And this is how it turned out. After that, I sewed all the skirt pieces together at the side seams. Then I pressed these seams open. I sewed a basting stitch at the top of the skirt and I proceeded to gather the fabric to my waist measurement. I put a little clip in my hair because my bangs are bothering me. And I was going to mention that Zooey Deschanel was actually the reason I would keep cutting my bangs in middle school through high school, even though I know I didn't like them that much on me, but she just has that influence. And then now that I'm older, since I started watching Audrey Hepburn films, now she's the reason I'm cutting my bangs. So the cycle never ends, but I don't know, they're cute, but sometimes they gotta be put away. But anyways, I have the waist here. I did an inverted pleat in the front. Don't know if it's right. What I'm going to do now is another basting stitch by hand, since this one is really flimsy and kind of losing its shape. I don't know if I'm gonna do it properly, but I just wanted to stay still so that I can sew it on the top. But I'll see you in a minute after I'm done with this. At this point, I decided to add lightweight interfacing to the front placket. This will provide more stability for the buttons and the buttonholes. After that, I folded the edge of the facing inwards about 1/4 of an inch and sewed it in place with the straight stitch. I began to pin the bodice and skirt right sides together, and for the left facing, I'm folding the placket over the skirt so that when it's right sides out, the skirt will be encased. I continued to pin these pieces together using clips. and then I sewed them together using a basting stitch. And I was happy with how it looked, so I sewed this again using a 2.5 stitch length. Hello, it's later in the night and I changed into a t-shirt because I wanted to be a little more comfortable, but I'm actually wearing my ELO shirt. Electric Light Orchestra, that is. I actually got some comments from OG ELO listeners and they told me it's supposed to be ELO. So I feel a little silly that I've been saying ELO, but it rolls off the tongue. And I don't see any periods here. No, I'm kidding. I'll call them ELO. Gotta respect. But yeah, my best friend gave me this t-shirt, so thank you, Lily. How kind of you. Anyways, right now I just finished sewing the bodice to the skirt and it looks really pretty so far. I'm excited. What I need to do is add the buttons, and I have these 3 buttons. Maybe I'll show you a close-up. I got all of these buttons at an antique store. They were only 50 cents each, so that was really nice. It's even cheaper than it was back then. This is 67. But I also have this container. I don't know if you've seen it in my videos, but I did a little painting session at a ceramic place. It's called Color Me Mine. There's a lot of them. And me and my friend painted some ceramics together. It's actually the same friend that got me this t-shirt. Shout out Lily. No. But the front has this little needle and thread. The back, I tried to do a thimble, but I messed up, so I just blacked it out and made it a pin cushion. And the top has the scissors that I used to cut thread. But yeah, the inside has a little button. I'm just putting the loose buttons that don't have a backing in here. I should stop waving this around. It is ceramic, so hold on. This is the 3rd button that I'm thinking about. It's kind of the same as the Le Bouton. I think I'm gonna go with this button. I like it. It's a little bit thicker, so let's do it. We're almost done. Here I'm hand sewing the front placket using a slip stitch, and I'm making sure to only catch the lining fabric. Then I sewed 5 buttonholes using my machine. And I added freight check. I used this mini screwdriver I have because the spout of my freight check bottle is too big. Next, I'm using this buttonhole maker kit. I don't know what it's called, but basically I'm lining up this tool with the buttonhole and pushing it downward. And this ends up cutting through the fabric and it creates a seamless buttonhole. I moved on to sewing these precious little buttons on, and they look adorable. After that, I'm working on the hem. First, I pressed the edge inwards 1/4 of an inch, and then I folded the edge again 2 inches inwards, and I pressed that down as well. Following that, I used a slip stitch to hand sew the hem in place. Here I'm hand sewing the hook first. Then I hand sewed the eye to the left side of the dress. And the last step was to hand sew the snaps in place. After this, the dress was finally complete, and now it's time for the reveal. made it to the end of the video and now it's time for the wrap-up portion. This morning I went to go get breakfast with my boyfriend's family, and then my boyfriend and I went to the McNay Museum that's here in San Antonio. It was a really beautiful day and it's actually kind of hot, so this dress was a great choice to wear today. But oh my goodness, I got so many compliments as I was walking around. I am kind of shy, but I know that it's important to accept a compliment and just say thank you. Sometimes I've noticed like people say, oh no, me? I just threw this on, or like they try to over-explain, but it's like, no, you look good. Accept the compliment. And I'm gonna take that advice myself. So yeah, I just love it when people are kind to me. Like, stop it some more. No, you're beautiful. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, people were really intrigued because again, like, you don't really see someone wearing a big poofy dress every day. But someone asked me like, what inspired you to make this? And we kind of just talked a bit, and I thought that was super sweet. But yeah, I am very flattered nonetheless. And anyways, overall for the dress, I have no notes. Like, I really think I did a great job and everything came out pretty good. I would like to continue to try new things. Like, the instructions actually told me to do some bound buttonholes, but I haven't done those before, so that's definitely on my bucket list of new sewing techniques. But yeah, I think it still looks really cute, and these vintage buttons are darling. I was talking to someone and they were telling me all the little things they were noticing on my dress. I'm like, you get it. You get the vibes, ma'am. Also, you might notice this big flower here. I bought it on Etsy. It was handmade. I will link the company down below and the link, but I'm not sponsored or anything. I just thought it was so cute. It kind of reminds me of this one photo of Elizabeth Taylor where she's also wearing a little flower on her head. It's cute. And yeah, I kind of just love putting things in my hair. I also bought some vintage hair accessories. Like, it's fun, okay? I want a big old flower on my head. Don't judge me. Anyways, I had so much fun filming this video and now I have a beautiful dress. But I want to thank y'all so much for watching till the end, and I hope y'all have a great day. I'll see you on the next one. Bye!